Welcome back to Timeless Messages from the Ching. This is Stephen. Thanks for tuning in. So if you have a moment to consider what question you may want guidance on or particular help with a perspective, a decision, if you could focus on that and think about that while I'm giving the reading, that will be great. And if you've tuned into this particular reading, there's a reason for it. Pay no attention to the date this is published or the number that's associated with it. It's a reading that's timeless. And if you have found this reading today, then there are messages here that are going to help you and assist you in your process. So, momentarily, I'm going to ask the general question: what are the most important and beneficial messages for the viewers? What are the most important and beneficial messages for the viewers? And without further ado, I'm going to take the coins and continue that request. What are the most important and beneficial messages for the viewers? Most important and beneficial messages for the viewers. Okay, 3, 6, 7, 8. Feminine line, yin line, most beneficial and important messages for the viewers. Most beneficial and important messages for the viewers. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A yang line, solid line, masculine line. Most beneficial and important messages for the viewers. Most beneficial and important messages to the viewers. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Most beneficial and important messages for the viewers. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Most beneficial and important messages for the viewers. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Most beneficial and important messages for the viewers. Most beneficial and important messages for the viewers. Okay. 3, 6, 8. Okay. Singular hexagram, no changes. I know the top is Tui, youngest daughter, West. Young yin. And this is Sun. And that is the Southeast, the eldest daughter. Tui and Sun. Tui and Sun. 28. 28. Let's find that. So if you take a moment to take a few deep breaths and think about your current situation, and as I read the text, see how it applies. If you have the opportunity to close your eyes, that's great too. Okay, so the hexagram is preponderance of the great. Above is the joyous lake, or Tui, and below is Sun, the gentle wind and wood. This hexagram consists of 4 strong lines inside. Those would be the 4 strong lines inside, all yang. I'll start over from the beginning. This hexagram consists of 4 strong lines inside and 2 weak lines outside. These are the weak lines, the feminine lines on the outside. When the strong are outside and the weak inside, all is well, and there is nothing out of balance, nothing extraordinary in the situation. Here, however, the opposite is the case. The hexagram represents a beam that is thick and heavy in the middle, but too weak at the ends. This is a condition that cannot last. It must be changed, it must pass, or misfortune will result. So this pictures a beam that is very thick in the middle, but the ends are too weak to support it. And this says it's a condition that cannot last. It must be changed, it must pass, or misfortune will result. Makes sense? Okay, so the judgment, preponderance of the great. The ridgepole sags to the breaking point. It furthers one to have somewhere to go. Success. The weight of the great is excessive. The load is so heavy for the strength of the supports. The ridgepole on which the whole roof rests sags to the breaking point because its supporting ends are too weak for the load they bear. It is an exceptional time and situation. Therefore, extraordinary measures are demanded. It is necessary to find a way of transition as quickly as possible and to take action. This promises success, for although the strong element is in excess, or is in the dominant amount, it is in the middle, that is, at the center of gravity, so that a revolution is not to be feared. Nothing is to be achieved by forcible measures, not by force. The problem must be solved by gentle penetration to the meaning of the situation, as is suggested by the attribute of the inner trigram sun. Then the changeover to other conditions will be successful. It demands real superiority. Therefore, the time when the great preponderates, which means when the great dominates and is in the majority, is a momentous time. The image. The lake rises above the trees. The image of preponderance of the great. Thus, the superior person, when they stand alone, is unconcerned, and if the superior person has to renounce the world, they are undaunted and untroubled. Extraordinary times, when the great is in the majority, are like flood times, when the lake rises over the treetops. But such conditions are temporary. The two trigrams indicate the attitude proper to such exceptional times. The symbol of the trigram sun is the tree, which stands firm even though it stands alone. And the attribute of Tui is joyousness, which remains undaunted even if it must renounce the world. Forgot to put the title up here. 1 second here, and we'll discuss this a little bit more. Preponderance of the great. Preponderance of the great. Preponderance is it's the majority or an excessive amount, and as you can see, there's an excessive amount of yang energy here and a minimum amount of yin energy at the ends. So one of the most important ideas here is that this is a extraordinary situation and a condition that cannot last. It has to change, it must pass, or misfortune will result. It shows a beam that's thick in the middle, but weak at the ends. Therefore, the ends can't support the heaviness at the middle. So there has to be a transition as soon as possible. And don't delay. It says it furthers one to have somewhere to go. That means you must act. Something must happen here to change the situation. because the weight is so great and excessive in the center, it's too heavy for the strength of the supports, and therefore the roof sags to the breaking point because its supporting ends are too weak to bear the load. This is indeed an exceptional time and situation. Contemplation is a good idea at this time, even short bursts of contemplation of 2 or 3 minutes, closing the eyes, looking within, asking for guidance from your higher power, from Jesus, from Allah, from Buddha, from the Great Spirit, from Muhammad, from Shiva, Krishna, whomever you pray to. Ask for help and guidance from your angels, your spirit guides, whatever the wording is. So, extraordinary measures are demanded, and a revolution is not to be feared. So a revolution meaning if you want to make some significant changes within yourself or in your situation, that this is an opportunity to do so. And it does emphasize the idea that it's necessary and imperative to find a way to transition as quickly as possible, and it's necessary to take some form of action. Contemplation, meditation, looking within and asking for guidance and how to proceed is very wise at this point, because there needs to be some sort of enlightened action to move things forward out of this state. Okay. So action and the transition that's discovered will promise success. And a revolution, as mentioned before, is not to be feared. Doesn't mean you have to have a governmental revolution. It just means that you could have a revolution in terms of a new perspective, a new way of thinking, perhaps forgiving someone, getting in touch with someone, could be letting go of something, something that's revolutionary for you could be incredibly different for someone else. So the other idea that's important to emphasize is that whatever action is taken, whatever choice is made, nothing should be achieved by force. This is not a time to use force. So even though there's going to be some form of choice and action, it should not be an action that is a forced action or a forceful action. In fact, you might want to consider the choice or the action to be one of gentleness. That way you'll ensure that you're not moving into a choice or an action that's going to be forceful. Forceful will not produce the success that you are looking for at this time. And so it does go on to say, the problem must be solved by gentle penetration to the meaning of the situation. And this can be done through the help of your guides, your higher power, your creator, through contemplation, through prayer, request, and through affirmation, saying, I am being guided to whatever is the best solution here and now. The best course of action is happening here and now. I am open and receptive to all the wonderful new ideas that are going to help me move through this transition and out of this place of excessive heaviness and danger, so that things can get back to normal. So the change over to other conditions will be successful, but it does demand superiority. So it indicates that this is a momentous time. Okay. So the two trigrams, Tui is joyousness, and the sun is the tree. Okay, this is the joyous lake, and this is the tree. Okay, so it emphasizes the idea that the tree will stand firm even though it stands alone. It may stand with other trees away from it, but essentially a tree is got its own space. But it's not a problem for a tree. Okay, it stands firm even though it stands alone. You could consider this in regards to interactions with other people. Perhaps this is a time where you are standing alone more often like a tree. But the hexagram is counseling you to not feel poorly about this and stand strong, even though you may be standing alone at this time. Okay? And the attribute of Tui, the joyous lake above, is joyousness, which remains untroubled even if it must renounce the world. So again, this type of idea of letting go of the world, letting go of connection, letting go of interaction at this time, not permanently, of course, but at this time, this could be a very important thing for you if that's what your life situation calls for. So Tui, the joyousness, remains untroubled even if it must let go of or renounce the world. Okay? So singularity and letting go of the world is not to be feared, and strength is to be sought in these types of experiences. Okay? So I hope these messages have been helpful to your particular situation. And I do appreciate you tuning in. If you'd be interested in a personal reading, the information about those readings is in the description box. Again, thanks for checking this out. Take some time in contemplation, in asking for guidance. The solution is there. It's coming to you now. Request that your guides, your higher power, move you into this wonderful new solution, this new perspective, these new ideas, and it shall be so. Take care. All the best.